The former American ambassador to Russia from 2002 to 2004, Michael McFaul, published an article in the Washington Post talking about what the West should do to stop an attack on Ukraine by Russia. One of his points is that a Western failure to deter Putin from invading Ukraine will have very bad consequences for the American goal of deterring China from invading Taiwan. I think he's totally right, and not just about Taiwan and Ukraine, but it also applies to Japan, the Baltics and the Philippines. If we let Putin do this, the United States loses all credibility, and that means that a bigger war with China and Russia in the future is much more likely, perhaps even inevitable, and nobody sane wants that. Ukraine intelligence just released this assessment of Russian forces on their border, and that will be ready to attack them by January. If this is true, Ukraine is done for if Putin attacks. According to a top RAND Corporation official that did war games about Russia invading Ukraine for several years, this is worse than the worst case they ever trained for. In my opinion, the only way to deter a Russian attack on Ukraine is basically for Germany, France and the United Kingdom to say, if you do this, we cut off your internet, your gas pipelines, your banking relations, close all embassies and kick out all ambassadors. And you'll be banned from the European Union until Russia is a democracy again. But Europe won't say this because it's infested with Russian shills. Russia has moved 150,000 troops to invade Ukraine. Meanwhile, the only thing we've seen from Europe and the United States are empty words of support and a couple of bullets. Putin seems to think the West is led by weaklings afraid to do anything. And he's probably right. After a warning from Satan's representative on Earth, Sergei Lavrov, about military cooperation between Turkey and Ukraine, the two countries ignored the threat and announced a deal to build a manufacturing plant for production and modernization of Turkish Bayraktar drones. There's been no date announced for the building to start, but I doubt Ukraine will be rolling out drones out of the assembly line before at least a year or two. This will piss off Russia a lot. But Ukraine can do whatever the hell they want to defend themselves. The Ukrainian parliament has approved today the Ukraine-Turkey Intergovernmental Military Framework to deepen security cooperation. Turkey has pledged to provide $18.5 million to help Ukraine meet its military needs. Meanwhile, in the news published by the Russian state, Putin's propaganda, they've published an article on Russia Today this morning with the title, "Russia and NATO War Over Ukraine is Becoming Unavoidable." What a load of crap. This whole thing could be over in a minute if Russia withdrew from Crimea and eastern Ukraine and stopped acting like a warmongering dictatorship. Russia could be a friend to the West. But it won't. Because Putin has a small dick and an inferiority complex.